Hello and welcome. On our channel, we document our electric tech adventures, which would be going on road trips in our Tesla, as well as taking our fully electric travel trailer RV out camping. Well, one of the most consistent and time-consuming things getting to a new campsite is leveling the trailer, especially the side-to-side leveling. The front-to-back leveling is relatively simple because that's just your tongue jack going up and down. But the side-to-side, we put angled wheel chocks underneath the tires, and then we drive forward or backward to raise that side of the trailer up or down to achieve the level that we desire. Well, the way that we determine if it's level or not is with a bubble level on the tongue of our trailer. And that is not the most precise instrument by any stretch, and it's actually pretty hard to see. Where it is located wasn't determined by us. It was put there by somebody prior to us owning the trailer, so we've just continued to use it. But honestly, it's not very easy to see, and now that I've added the outdoor unit of the mini split on top of it or near it, we're basically looking down through a narrow slot to see it. And in any case, I wanted something more precise than that, and I also would love to be able to just see it while I'm still in the front of the truck driving the truck. So when Techno RV agreed to collaborate with me on this video to install their LevelMatePRO Plus Bluetooth device, I jumped on that opportunity to get that installed. And so with this, I will install this into the trailer and calibrate it so that it knows when the trailer is perfectly level. And now we'll be able to see what the level of the trailer is while we're still driving around. As we're getting to a campsite, we'll be able to more precisely determine the level of the trailer, of the area that the trailer is located before we even decide that that's where we're going to camp. And then as we're actually getting our camp set up, we'll be able to put the wheel chocks under the trailer tires, and then I'll be able to drive in the truck just enough forward to get it perfectly level by looking at the readout from my phone, which is connected to the device in the trailer via Bluetooth wireless connectivity. And then once it's level, then I'll have Jessica do the wheel chocks, or I'll get out and do that myself. So first part of this video, let's just get the install done, which I already know is going to be very simple. The first question is, well, where to locate it? Now, it can operate off of just battery power alone, but in our case, we have the Plus model, which has a micro USB port that you can power it with, and that's what I intend to do so that I never have to think about batteries for it. But the Bluetooth signal is the next potential constraint, and I've heard from other reviews that potentially if you put it in the back of your RV, that the signal may be not as strong as you'd like. So I wanted to locate it closer to the front of the trailer. Plus, as I'm getting out to go level the trailer and whatnot, I'd like to be able to have it quickly accessible on the outside of the trailer so that I can turn it on and off and not need to just leave it on all the time, which I could potentially do, but also I don't want to have to go into the trailer to turn it on if I can help it. In the back of our trailer, there is this spot that I had considered installing it and just screwing it here onto the wall. And then you can see there's a 12-volt power socket here. I could put an adapter and power the LevelMatePRO Plus with it from there. But because this is in the back of the trailer and I potentially want to use this for other things, I decided to do something different. So I'm going to go up to the front of the trailer and show you what I decided to do. So first I'm going to go outside. And here at the front of our trailer, on the driver and passenger side, there are these compartments that previously had the old-fashioned lead-acid batteries in them. And we've repurposed this, and I sometimes store things in it and whatnot. And in this case, I have the 240-volt receptacle that I use to charge our EV. And then I also use it with this adapter right here. And I power standard household outlets from a NEMA 1450 outlet here in this compartment. And this is where I run our Starlink router from, etc. So what I've also added in here is this right here. And I'll put on screen where I got this. But this is basically a 12-volt converter. It takes from the old battery lugs here. This is where the previous lead-acid batteries were connected to send electricity into the RV's 12-volt system. And I'm actually using it in the opposite direction, and I've tapped onto these. This is the positive terminal, and then the negative is on the other side over here. And these wires come around to this device, which now has two 12-volt power sockets that I can use on this side of the trailer, and they have dust caps here, and they're waterproof, so that's good. Also, it has a power switch here that I can use to turn on the system, and it has a voltage readout right here. It's showing 13.2 volts. And then what I'm interested in for my LevelMatePRO is this right here. It has two USB ports that I'll be able to use, obviously, to power it. So what I'm going to do, this is the LevelMatePRO here, and There's not really much of an unboxing here because it's so simple. This has some instructions in it, which we'll get to in just a minute. But first off, this is the LevelMatePRO, and it comes nicely packaged in foam here, and then it has a USB cable, micro USB, and then it has 2 screws with which to install it. So the LevelMatePRO itself here, they say to mount it pointing up, but it can be at any direction. So it can be either this direction, forward facing, or side, back, or the other side. So in my case, I'm going to just install it on the side of this battery compartment right here. And I'll probably put it up to the top here so those wires are just going over the top of it. And then as you can see, the bottom port for the micro USB is right there. And so that's going to be in very close proximity of just a few inches to these USB ports right there. So I'll even have excess cable and I'll be able to easily power it from this. And then on the bottom of the LevelMatePRO, you can see that there's a power switch right here, and just this little switch. Some people online complain that it's a little bit on the small side, but I think it works just fine. It sticks down a tiny bit, and it's not that hard to use. But in my case, I could probably just leave it on continuously, and then I'll just use this power switch to turn the LevelMatePRO Plus on or off as I desire. Unless I have other things plugged in here that I don't want to have turned off, and then I'll use the power switch on the LevelMatePRO Plus. So I'm going to go ahead and get this bolted or screwed to the back wall here and then plugged in, and we'll do the setup process. And just like that, it's installed. That was the easiest thing I've ever installed in the trailer. Just 2 screws, one on either side, and it's bolted here to the wall, and then plugged it in with the micro USB cable that it came with, straight over here to this device that I installed. And now, keep in mind, I had actually considered just snipping off the top or the tip of this USB cable, spreading out the wires, and then just connecting them directly to these terminals. And I could have put an inline fuse, and that could have worked. This device can take up to 15 volts, and you can see here that this is only 13.2 volts. But ultimately, I decided this would be a cleaner solution that has additional functionality, and I like this idea, so that's why I went ahead and installed this. One of the thing is they said that when you have this hardwired, that you can go ahead and remove the battery from this. So I'm going to take off these front 4 screws here, take the cover off, and just remove the battery so that it doesn't corrode and go bad over time. It's not a rechargeable battery anyway, and we're never going to be using the battery. So I'm just going to take it out so that it doesn't corrode, but I'll keep it here in this compartment somewhere stowed away just as a backup in case we need it. I've finished removing the screws, so just pop off the cover like this. And you can see it's just an empty cavity there. It's a pretty simple circuit board there, and it's just got a regular coin battery. This is the CR2450. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this out. Now I'm gonna put the cover back on just like that without the battery. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that the trailer is perfectly level, forward and backward and side to side. And if we look at the bubble level that we've been using previously, you can see it's actually not perfectly level front to back, but side to side it looks pretty good. However, I used a leveler here on the floor in the trailer. Looking at this level, we can see that the bubble is perfectly in the center, side to side. And then if we switch this around over to the side, it also looks perfectly level there. And I've also checked it in a couple of other places around the trailer, and everything looks perfectly level in both directions. A lot of people reference making sure that the trailer is level where the fridge is, but ours is a DC compressor type fridge. It's not absorption, so that doesn't matter. The next thing I want to do is measure from right here on the center of the rear axle all the way up to the front of the trailer. And then I've put a right angle square device here and pointed that directly at the jack of the trailer. And so I can see that that's 18 feet or 216 inches. And then the next thing you'll need is to put the measuring tape at the outside edge of the other tire. And then on this side, we can see the outside edge of the tire aligns with 94 inches. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. You'll hear a beep. And now I'll connect to the Bluetooth app on my phone, do the rest of the setup from there. The thing I'm going to do is pull up my camera app and then click on show options here, say open link, and it will take me to install the app on my phone. Now that it's installed, I'll hit the open button there, and I'll say while using the app that they can see my location, agree to the terms and conditions, finding nearby devices, and then do you want to connect to it? Say yes. So then I'll go ahead and enter in my registration information, and then I'll go ahead and register my LevelMatePRO Plus. Continue to setup wizard. So I'll specify that it's a travel trailer, and as you can see, there are several other types of RVs that this is calibrated for. Temporarily mount the LevelMatePRO Plus using the included removable glue strip, which I didn't use, it's already screwed in. Put your tow vehicle a few feet in front of the normal towing position, which it is. Sit in the driver's seat of the tow vehicle and tap check signal strength. I am now in the cab of the truck, so I'm going to say check signal strength. Signal test successful. So remove the temporary mounting tape from the LevelMatePRO and securely mount the unit with the provided screws, which I've already done. Say next. We'll specify our units of measurement and then measure the width from the outside of the tires. So then I put in the measurements that I measured previously, so 94 inches on the width, and then 216 inches on the length. And then in my case, I will put that the label faces the driver's side, and then idle until sleep, I'll put an hour, that's fine. I don't need it to run continuously, and I can always change this later if I want to. Wake on motion, reverse front view, I'll leave that, that's okay. And then display resolution 1/4 inch, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and set level since I've already determined that. And now we're level set successfully. There is an app tutorial here, and it just shows obviously what the app's functionality looks like. And we have the set position of the hitch that we can set. Right now it's not quite right because I've leveled the trailer and it's not at the height that the truck will be hitching up to it. So now we're set up and we are going to go on a camping trip and test this out for the first time. For our first test of the LevelMatePRO Plus, we drove up American Fork Canyon, which taxes the truck a fair amount as we are increasing in elevation pretty dramatically. Just past Tibble Fork Reservoir, the road gets steeper and narrower, so I drove carefully and a couple of times had to nearly come to a stop when passing a wider vehicle or someone else towing. Finally, we arrived at Granite Flat Campground, to a group site that has a private parking lot just for our group of friends camping together, so we could park anywhere we wanted to. While it looks mostly flat, it actually had quite a slant to it. We are arriving at our campsite. This happens to be a campground, so it's an asphalt parking lot, which is very unusual for us, but this is a group trip we're doing, and so we're staying in a campground with some friends. So as I'm backing the trailer into position, you can see it's giving me an instant readout of the level of the trailer. Get this right until it is level. And the trailer rocks when I stop the truck, so I have to stop it and then let it level out. And as you can see there, it's showing as perfectly level. I'm going to now go ahead and put on the wheel chocks, then we'll be good to go. Jessica finished placing the X chock on this side, and the tongue jacks just stopped because it was at its set height. And then over here, she just finished putting the X chock on that side as well. And as you can see on the app, we still have another 4.75 inches to compensate for. And it turns out that our tongue jack can't go high enough, even though it's on this height riser thing here. So I'm going to put some wooden blocks in there and then we'll get it a little bit higher still. So now we are bringing it up off of the truck. And as you can see on the app, we still have to come up 9 inches. And so I've put the two 2x6s here to get the extra height that we need, that yellow plastic block doesn't have. So we're just going to wait for this to get all the way up to level. Now, something that I can do to make up for that just tiny bit of difference there on the leveling is with the stabilizer jacks here. You don't want to lift the trailer, but you can adjust it just a tiny bit. So I'm going to raise or lower the back one first. And you can see that that's torqued out. So then I'm going to raise the front one. And you can see actually on the LevelMate app that it's already showing that it's perfectly level now. I'm going to raise the front one just a tiny bit more. And there we go. It's now showing stable, perfect level on the side to side. In conclusion, the LevelMatePRO Plus is an amazing device. It's very helpful and it's so much better than having to look at that bubble level on the trailer. And it's actually more accurate by quite a bit. I love being able to just drive the truck until it's perfect and then have Jessica install the X chocks, or I could get out and do it if I needed to. And it's really simple to install. The LevelMatePRO Plus was probably, yeah, it's definitely the simplest thing that I've ever installed. If you used double-sided sticky tape, for instance, you could just pretty much stick it somewhere in the trailer and then connect to it and run it off the battery. And enter in your measurements of your trailer, and you'd be up and running very, very simply. I hope this has been helpful seeing how to install it, and we will continue to use it in our future boondocking trips and camping trips in general. And I will be putting notes in those videos of how well it's working for us. If I have any updates about the device, I will put them as a pinned comment below. With that, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.